Hello guys, and welcome to another iRacing video. Today we are at Summit Point in the Porsche Cup. This is the Open Series, and Summit Point is a track that I've really only raced Mazdas at, I think. I don't think I've raced anything that fast at Summit Point here, so the Porsche is certainly going to be, or certainly has been, an experience here. I thought the track was going to be too small, but it's actually not. It's quite a fun track to drive in the Porsche. There is a technical section right at the back end of a few twists and turns that in slower cars isn't too difficult, but in the Porsche is actually a little bit challenging because of how the Porsche is with the rear engine and how that wants to sort of pendulum round on you quite often. So I think this is my third attempt at Summit Point this week. The first was a okay race, but I had lots of people crashing into me and we didn't end up with an amazing result. So I had another go and got instantly binned out on T1 or 2, which ended my race pretty much instantly. So this is my third attempt, and whilst it doesn't go perfect, it's quite an interesting race. I quite enjoyed it. The strength of field is 1.3k, so again, I'm racing against a few drivers that are clearly a lot better than I am. So we've qualified P5, which is great. That's better than I thought. And yeah, let's get into the race.
Get ready. Go, go, go.
So I was a little bit late off the clutch there, and as you can see, Philip Bjork has got a great run, and there down my left, Tim Beneke has a better start than me as well. I'm not going to fight for the position here, but I do stay on the inside just to make sure we don't clash. He takes a nice wide line, I take a nice line on the inside, we keep clear of each other. He stays ahead of me, but I'm fine with that. One place lost, but at least T1 is survived. So when the Porsche has cold tyres, I'm not really going to be taking any crazy risks. So braking a little bit early and also getting on the power a little bit later. It seems everyone else is doing somewhat the same because I'm keeping up with them at the moment. And just a little coast down to this hairpin here. And then into the twisty section of the track. Now, we nearly hit Tim Beneke there because he brakes when I'm not expecting it. But we miss a collision, it's all good. So again, just trying to survive T1. Now this is a section of the track where you can quite easily slip out wide. With cold tyres, it's a little bit awkward there, but yeah, there's a quick change of direction there that you'll see. You have to time your throttle very carefully. And then the final turn here, I get this all kinds of wrong. I have to downshift to third to help slow the car, stop us going into the dirt, and as a result, Quintin gets a nice jump on us there. So another position lost. That's okay though. We're into lap 2 and bang. So Francisco Botana decides to brake incredibly late and aim right for us. Racing incident, he didn't do it on purpose. At least he's getting some comeuppance there on the left as he tries to rejoin. But yeah, so that's not ideal. Looking back at the incident, he basically didn't account for the fact that he was drafting and didn't have the same front downforce and as much grip when braking, so therefore wasn't going to be able to slow down the car as much. Is what it is. We now find ourselves down in P15 and we got some work to do. So when it comes to this part of the track, I'm still experimenting with the sort of optimal line that I can find through here. Now this is open setup as well, and this is my own setup that I've tried to make, and it's okay.
The leader's just done a 110.4.
Car right, clear right.
So we get let through there, which is nice, and the leader's just done a 110, so that's pretty fast
Well done,
already. So the chance of me getting into the top 3 is going to be unlikely if the top guys are driving that fast already. So I'm just going to try and do my best here, and that's all I can do really. So I brake at the normal marker there of 4 cones, and clearly already we've got the grip in the tyres, and I get a good corner there. This exit from T1 can be a bit bumpy if you stay too much on the inside, so I tried to avoid that. This corner can be quite tricky, and I get my turn in very wrong here, hit the curb and nearly lose it, but luckily we managed to keep hold of the car. Yeah, that corner is a little bit more tricky than it seems at first glance, and I do take it rather easy the whole race, really. That corner scares me. Through the twisty section, which again, I think I've got some ideas about how I can improve here, but for this race, this is pretty much my line.
You're pulling away from the guy behind. The gap's now
already I can feel the
3.1.
tyres are gripping up nicely, so that's good. This final turn is something I struggle with the whole race, you'll see. We do okay here, but obviously we then spot this going on. Now, one of these two cars, Zoltan Hari, you'll see him fairly throughout this race. He's an absolute nightmare. He has lots of incidents and lots of aggro with other drivers on track, and he does affect us later.
That lap was at 111.36.
And for some reason, I go stupidly wide here, and I have to downshift to first in an emergency to try and help engine brake the car to a stop without running wide. We managed to stay on track, which is lucky, but then I notice here up ahead I recognise the livery, and we have Tim Beneke ahead of us. Now, Tim was ahead of us at the start, so he's obviously had a mishap, and I look up to the deltas in the top left and I can see that yes, I made 16 seconds on him, so he clearly had an incident that's sent him right the way down the pack, such as I did early in the race. Now, Tim's obviously a good driver and one of the fastest on the track, so I know I'm going to have some work to do to keep up with him and sort of get past him, so now it's time to get my game face on. Through those last few corners there, I noticed the car's feeling good. I look down at the tyre pressures, they're around 160, which is where they need to be, so it's all good. And we're actually up on our delta as well, so we're going to put in a good time here too. So, time to get racing.
That's the fastest lap of the race. Fastest lap for Armstrong, 109.94.
So a good lap time for us, but we do still go a little bit deep into T1 there. So we're about 1.3 seconds off of Tim. I'm looking behind us as well, and
We're reeling this car in. The gap's now 1.3 seconds.
So yeah, 1.3, and we got Bradley behind us with a decent gap, so we can just focus on Tim here. Now, throughout the race, this hairpin, I play around with a few different lines to try and find the right way. I nudge the curve a little too much, or too often, should I say, so that's something I need to work on. Now here, when you go around that left, you need to just let off the throttle a little bit. When the car grips up and goes straight, that's when you can get the power on again. But then you need to lift off again just to help the car turn into the slightly faster right-hander. And you've got to be careful, because that's when the Porsche can catch you out. We get a good final corner, which I'm happy with, and we're making ground on Tim. We're now 6/10 behind him.
That's your best lap in this session. That's the new fastest lap for Armstrong, 109.83.
So hearing Armstrong's name there, I realise, okay, he is driving faster than me. And looking up at the deltas, he's made nearly half a second, pretty much, on the last two laps. So I will have to worry about him soon. But as you can see, we're making up on Tim nicely here, and we're into a battle. So let's concentrate on this first. And we enter the hairpin. He takes a slightly wider entry. I managed to miss the curb, and I'm up behind him.
Thank you.
I take a slightly tighter line through here. He seems to be faster than me through here, so that helps me realise that there's clearly time to be found in that section of the track that Tim's finding over me, so let's try and button that up next lap. Not a bad final turn, we keep up with Tim. Now, whilst I want to be patient and wait for a move, we get a good opportunity here. Tim seems to go a little bit too deep into T1, and I noticed right at the last minute, and I'm just able to slow that car down that last little bit to get tight into the apex.
Left side.
And switch up into the inside
Clear
there. And we get past him, which I wasn't expecting, but now it's time to make it stick. I go a little bit cautiously through here, if I'm honest, but I'd rather do that than slip out and go into the gravel or lose the back end. And yeah, okay, brilliant, we're now into P9. There's me riding the curb again, but doesn't unsettle the car too much. Keep it in second for a little bit longer through here. Car slides, now just ease off. Straighten the car, ease off. back on the power and just wash out onto the curbs here, and it's okay. So Tim's 5/10 behind us. Get a terrible final corner, I'll miss the apex there, but we don't lose too much speed, but we do lose a 10th or so to Tim. And then I look in front, we've got a back marker that's just come out of the pits, and it's Zoltan Hari, who I was aware...
Keep your exit speeds up, E9.
Yeah, I was aware was a problem, and straight away I noticed that, okay, so he's not letting us through there. I was hoping he would back off, but I very quickly realised that Zoltan's probably not the kind of guy that's going to back off and just let us get past, and I'm worried that it's going to allow Tim to catch right back up, and I noticed that Zoltan's a little bit squirrely there, and then round here he almost loses it completely. Managed to avoid him.
Clear left.
I tried to cut on the inside, but he's still racing hard here. And, it kind of baffles me. He doesn't have to get out the way, but it would be nice if he did, because he's not racing us, so just backing off a little bit and not affecting our race would be nice, because I notice I've got Tim behind us and Bradley's now caught right up, who I know is doing 109s, so Zoltan needs to get out the way.
Hey, Raymir, go inside turn 1.
So as you can see, he unsettles the car there in the final turn. He's all over the place, and thankfully that gives us an opportunity to get round him. And it looks like he also backs off the throttle a little bit, but why did he wait till the straight to do that?
Your lap time was 1:12.31.
But thankfully, we've still got a half-second gap to Tim, but Bradley is right up on Tim now as well. Really, he's within striking distance if Tim makes an error, so yeah, I've got to try and get away from these two guys if I can, so this is when I try and put the most amount of my pace in if I can now. So in that corner there, I'm usually braking a little bit later. That's better there, but I have a little bit of oversteer.
The gap behind is now 1.2.
And that felt okay to me, but I look down at the delta, I can see I'm sort of 2.5 tenths down from my best, but I look in the rearview mirror and I can see there's clearly a bigger gap behind me now, so the pace I've got now is okay to gap Tim and Bradley. So I'm happy with that.
You've just done a 110.77.
And yeah, not a bad time at all. I'm in the 110s, which I'll always be happy with. And as you can see, 6 tenths on both Tim and Bradley, if you look at the deltas in the top left. And I've actually made on the rest of the field as well, so I'm one of the fastest on track at the moment on that last lap. So I've just got to try and keep this up. So I tried short shifting through the twisty section in there into third, but unfortunately I copped a little bit too much curb. Not a bad final corner, we nearly hit the gravel there, so I had to lift. But I'm noticing down in my relative, I'm going to be up iRating here by about 21 points, so...
Sector 2 is 0.5 off the pace.
And I'm kind of happy. That was a sort of low to mid 111, which is not amazing. I'd like to get that lower, be closer to 111 dead or into the 110s if I can, but let's see how we go. Much better through the twisty section there, that felt nice, but apparently I'm down on the delta, but that did at least feel nice. and I missed the apex there on the final turn, and we have to let off and we lose loads more time, but I liked how that twisty section felt, so I'm going to hope to do that again. I just need to nail a couple of the other turns,
That's half
especially that
distance.
last one.
Fuel levels are fine.
Looking at the deltas in the top left though, whilst I'm slower than everyone ahead of me, I did make up 1.3 on Tim, so he's now 2.5 seconds behind us, so we're starting to gap him nicely. So this is all I can hope for, really. I'm doing what I need to do, at least. So yeah, I'm definitely losing time on that last turn.
Track temperature's rising. It's now 42 Celsius. P9.
I'm starting to notice I'm getting a lot more grip into T1 here, both on the braking and the exits, so that's probably just a matter of the fuel load reducing, so I can brake a little bit later there if I need to, and I can get on the power a little bit harder on the exit. I'm playing around with my braking here and my entrance into this hairpin every single lap, just trying to find a decent line through and try not to hit the curb.
Yellow flag.
I take yet another tight line through there, and I realise that's not the best way. So I need to not take such a tight line around there. And an okay final turn. We're looking at a mid 111, which is okay.
The gap behind is now 3.1.
So actually, on that message from Jim, looked down at the relative and realised that actually Bradley Armstrong's disappeared, so he's obviously had an incident, so at least we've got one of the fast drivers away that we don't have to worry about, and we are making more progress on Tim. We're at 3 seconds, so all looking good so far. And there, as you can see, Bradley Armstrong disconnected, so yeah, he's obviously had an incident that meant he had to retire, so at least we don't have to worry about him. Not doing the best through there, missed the apex there as well, so we're about a second down this lap. So we're probably going to lose a bit to Tim here, but he's also not racing great. As you can see, we're up to 3.2 on the relative, so he's doing just as bad as we are this lap. So let's see what the deltas look like when we cross the line.
Sector 1 is 0.41 off the pace. Sector 2 is 0.5 off the pace. Sector 3 is 0.2 off the pace. That's good consistency. Keep it up.
So even though we're off the pace of the leaders, we still managed to gap another 0.3 on Tim behind us. So I'm starting to not to worry about him too much and trying to think about catching up with these guys in front if I can now. So again, just going to try and brake a little bit later here, just trail in, drop the fourth, engine brake, and as soon as we can straighten the car, get on the brakes. Tight in here, try not to clip too much curb, get on the power as early as possible with the wheels straight. Try and go a little bit wider here if I can. As soon as I'm into third, let off. We missed that apex, which isn't ideal. Let off here, and then just get on the power as early as possible. Not amazing, but certainly better than when we took a tighter line, and you know, we're still looking at a 111 on the predicted. To try and nail the last corner, that felt a lot better. Even though we're technically slower, but we're in for pretty much a 111 dead. Or 111.1. Again, that's faster. That was fastest of everyone else on the track that I can see on the standings, and another 0.2 up on Tim. So all good so far. If I can keep driving like this, then of course I should be able to catch up with Yannick and Chris and Philip ahead of us. Starting to feel a little bit more confident through there, getting a bit of a better line. We're up on our delta by a couple of hundredths, and now I can see the guys ahead of us. You know, they look within range, so I'm feeling pretty good. However, the Porsche is about to remind me it's a Porsche. So on this section coming up where you need to kind of straighten the car up from the left, right here, I get on the power too early, and that causes me to lose the back end. I'm just slightly too early on the power.
Keep it nice and tidy.
Whilst the car's still rotating to the left, and we're off the track. Tim goes ahead of us, Zoltan goes ahead of us, and we're back down to P10. No damage though, so could be thankful for that, but I am kicking myself at this point. So let's have a little look what went wrong. Basically, too much power while the weight was transferring from one side to the other. So you'll see as I go in for this left-hander, I shift up to fourth as the same time as I let off the throttle to put weight on the front, load the front tyres, help that turn in, and then as I straighten the wheel I should keep that power off until the car's settled, but I don't. I increase the throttle there, as you can see, a little bit, and it's enough to overspin the rears and keep that arse end coming round. And that's all it takes with the Porsche sometimes.
Keep it nice and tidy.
No one to blame but myself. It's frustrating. So not only have we gone from P9 to P10, but if we did want to compete for that P9 spot again, I've got pretty much an 8-second gap now to try and make back up. As I said before though, no damage, so it could be far, far worse. All I can do now is just try and get my head down, and that's pretty much it. I look at the relative, I see that Francisco Botana is behind me.
Position.
And according to the deltas in the top left, I seem to be faster than him typically. He's just done pretty much a 112, so I should be okay to keep him behind me. And I'll try and regain on Tim Beneke, but as you can see, we've only got about 5 laps remaining. It's going to be pretty hard to make up 8 seconds in 5 laps unless he makes a mistake. So let's just see what happens.
Thank you, Bucky.
It's definitely a little bit more cautious through there this time round, making sure I put the power on when the car had finished rotating to the left so that I could then start rotating it to the right. We get a terrible final corner there though, which is less than ideal. So we're on for about a 112 this lap, and I can see Zoltan and Tim Beneke ahead of me there, but that's quite a gap to try and make up. Catching a few of the bumps on the exit of T1 there, which doesn't help us. Puts us about 0.3 down, and oh look, Zoltan's had another incident, so at least we don't have to worry about him getting in our way, I guess. So just trying to make up on Tim, who's still over 8 seconds ahead of us at this stage. And part of me is wondering if I even bothered to push. I should probably just consign myself to the P10. We're due to gain 11 iRating, so it's positive iRating at least. We have only got 5 incident points, so if I can keep those to 5, you know, we've not lost anything for this race, and it has been fun.
Thank you, mate.
After looking at the deltas and seeing that whilst we made up 4/10 the previous lap, we lost 4/10 that last lap, so but it's basically unachievable to make up the gap now to Tim, so let's just get it home at this stage. Messy corner there. I had to slow down using engine braking of first gear, which isn't ideal, so we're down on time this lap. But again, looking at the deltas, we don't really have to worry about Francisco Batana, although he has just been overtaken by 2 guys there by the looks of it. But yeah, I don't really have anything to worry about with the handful of laps we have left. So we're on for a low 111, which is okay. And you'll be able to see how much later I could brake because of the lighter car here into turn 1. So we're past the 4 cones there. I'm just testing it out. As you can see, I do make the apex quite nicely. Much better line through there. Tiny bit of oversteer, but you know, we got out all right. So we're on for a potentially decent lap, but then I do catch a little bit too much curb there.
Position.
Completely missed the apex there, but it's okay. And you know, you can tell from the deltas of last lap and the deltas of this lap that I am making plenty of time on Tim, and I am, you know, driving at a decent pace for this strength of field. It's not going to be enough. I've got the gap down to 6.5 seconds, but it's not going to be enough with only a couple of laps remaining. So I'm just trying to drive as fast as I can, but without taking, you know, too many unnecessary risks here. More of a learning experience at this stage now, just to kind of see if I can just perfect my lines and just find the right sort of route through, especially this section here where it is quite twisty and all the corners sort of connect together, so you've got to kind of string them together in a nice way. And obviously trying to be careful through that section there because of what happened a few laps ago. We should be coming round now to the white flag. Got a little back marker ahead, but I doubt I'll catch him really. So there's the white flag. So clear track ahead and behind, so just got one more lap. Don't do anything crazy.
That was a 111.36.
Not bad lap time, low 111. Bit of a slight lock on the fronts there, but we're okay.
Gaining on this car, the gap is 6.0.
So yeah, whilst I am gaining on Tim and I've reduced the gap down to 6 seconds, I'm probably gaining on him about the same rate that I was gapping him earlier in the race. It's not going to be enough, obviously, to get the position by the end of the race. But it's been fun. I'm definitely gutted I lost that extra position.
Very good.
But, you know, as I just gently tickle around these last couple of corners to make sure I do make it home, I'm happy that it's most likely at least a positive iRating and safety rating, and it has been a fun race.
You're hectic coming to a damn stop.
P10, that's the end of the race. We'll get him next time.
So yeah, there it is, P10. I decide just to try and help the safety rating, just to go and drive right the way around to the pits. But yeah, so definitely got some things to learn about the Porsche. I'm definitely getting better at keeping it on the track and having a relatively low incident race. I mean, obviously the second lap accident at T1 was not my fault at all. Nothing I could do about that whatsoever. But I can certainly obviously have prevented the incident that lost me P9. But I'm definitely improving, I think, and whilst this result wasn't as good as Sebring, I think I drove better here. the main thing is obviously that I had fun, which I did. So there we have it, guys. That's the Open Porsche Cup race here at Summit Point. I hope you found it entertaining. Again, as always, I do this for fun, nothing else, not super serious, but if you do want to like and subscribe to be alerted of any future videos I post, that would be great. Otherwise, if you have any feedback about my racing or the video, leave it in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.